Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we are here with the Duelist Cup top tier ranking, or basically what's going to be good in the Duelist Cup, or as I predict what's going to be good in the Duelist Cup. Now, there was a huge unban list, what I'll call it is the unban list, as well as the most recent ban list that kind of did nothing. And honestly, it kind of did shake things up. We also got new branded cards. We got Manadimian. We got Gate Guardian. And a whole bunch of other things. So, yeah, I know I just did a ban list, or a tier list not too long ago, but let's hop into this. This is also specifically for the Duelist Cup, so it's going to be a little bit different than normal, but here we go. We have tiers 1, 2, or 1, 1.52, Rogue, and everything else. And, yeah, let's just hop into it. I don't have every deck, but I have most of the decks that I want to talk about. All right, I'm back. I now added the Gate Guardian in here. Go ahead and slide that Madolche Queen Tiramisu into everything else. Will do. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. We all know Madolche's not doing much. Not after the Ishizu cards got absolutely mollywopped. And Tier Limit is no longer good. But yeah. Starting off here with Drytron. Drytron's like Rogue. I don't know. It's still good. It still makes stuff. But Bestials have gotten better, so I'm going to put it in everything else. Drytron just doesn't seem very good right now. I don't really have anything else to explain about this. It's just bad. Branded. Branded is probably one of, if not the best deck. Yeah, it turns out giving Branded more cards, most notably Quem. I know a lot of people are going to be like, Albion, because Albion can now, or like the second Albion, can now do like the gimmick puppet lock stuff. Realistically, I don't think it's that big of a deal, because honestly, the gimmick puppet stuff doesn't really matter. Not nearly as much, I should say. Yes, it can do that, but Branded honestly thrives on not doing that, and more so doing all of the other stuff, and getting massive advantage from doing all that other stuff. It's very, very good. It died the minute Parley and Versus became a thing. I can't beat Versus even slightly. My entire deck loses to a single Brazen. Fair. But yeah, Branded's still very strong. It was very good previously, and then it got more stuff. And kind of all of the other stuff got slightly weaker. So, there's that. Next up, Punk. Punk is Rogue. Punk is so bad. I don't really know how else to say it. It's just so inconsistent. It dies to a single Ash Blossom. It dies to Imperm. It gets interrupted so very easily, and its combos honestly aren't that great. Like, yeah, Pep is nice. Everyone already has an out to basically every other towers, so what's Pep gonna do? This tier list works the same for Masters. For like Master tier, I think it'd be a little bit different, but I still, as of right now, yes, this still is the same. Pearly, yeah, Pearly's still the best deck. Losing access to one Delicious and one Pearly doesn't really matter. It's not really that big of a deal. You can still play the Ghost Trick stuff. You can still play the regular stuff. You can still play a myriad of hand traps or discard fodder or whatever it needs be, which makes it very adaptable to the metagame in something like the Duelist Cup, which also makes it very difficult to deal with. Yes, you can out Noir, and you can play cards to deal with Pearly more effectively. And even with that being said, I still think Pearly is by far the best deck. I don't know what else to say. Chaos exists. I don't know. I don't know. It's a deck. Trap Trick is fine. Like, being able to main deck evenly matched and actually gain advantage off of it is pretty nice, meaning you can actually go second with this deck, but honestly, you kind of have to go first with this deck or you die. Kashira's a Rogue? No. Kashira is probably tier 2. It honestly probably got a lot better with the Zodiac stuff, but I'm still going to put it in tier 2. I don't think it's going to take up a whole lot of slots in the top 100, but I do think that it's going to be something to look out for, and it's still very strong, especially with Zodiac coming off of the list, making Zodiac Kashtira a thing, and is probably the best way to play both Zodiac and Kashtira, so there's that. Yeah, Kashtira has always been better as basically a supportive archetype rather than a full archetype, except for when Prosperity was at 3. I don't know why Prosperity is at 3 in the TCG. I still have no idea why that's the case. Yeah, money probably. Tri-Brigade. Tri-Brigade just got Zodiac back, and that does matter. Again, Zodiac's pretty good. So yeah, all things considered, Tri-Brigade is still pretty good. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this. It's Tri-Brigade. It's Tri-Brigade Zodiac. It's going to be strong. It's going to be good. I don't know if this is the best version, but it's one of the best versions. So, there's that. Eldritch is, again, Zodiac. We'll make this slightly better. That's kind of all that I can say. Dude, Infernal, no. Just, no. Stop. Yeah. Zodiac's pretty good. Adding it to Eldritch is also pretty good. They don't really need their normal summon. You have all the interactions and, like, inevitability that Eldritch provides. It's not going to be great, but it'll be something. Dinos are dinos. I'm not going to explain that one. I feel like that one's pretty self-explanatory. I think Sprite Evil Twin is probably the best version of Sprite right now. Maybe I'd put it up here. I'm going to put it in Tier 2 for now. Higher than Kashtira. It has a pretty decent matchup against specifically Pearly, being able to like pop the My Friend Pearly, being able to have multiple negates, being able to play like hand traps or non-engine to out things like the Pearly engine and what have you. Makes it a bit better. That's like it, really. It's not that great, but it's decent. Synchro. Okay, so this one's weird. This is like Synchro Bestial Sprite stuff. This one's hard to rank because I don't really know. It didn't do great in basically anything, really. It's like decent. It's okay. Bestials are good though, whereas in the TCG they weren't. So there's that. It's kind of hard to say. I'm gonna put it in Rogue. I think it's okay. Heroes are not great. Heroes aren't great. Yep. The new mate is out, I'm aware. Labyrinth. I'm going to put it in 1.5. I think Labyrinth is still very strong. Losing a single Stovey Torby did nothing. But I think it's not great for the Duelist Cup, mostly because it's slow. But it does get you guaranteed wins, which is pretty nice. I think it's okay. I think it's decent. Mana with support will be the strongest deck in Master Duel. That's cool, but okay. You do you, boo. Dragon Link is pretty strong. It received Dispotter, which is very, very good. And yeah, it's probably the third best deck right now. Dispotter helps a lot. It means that you're level 10. First of all, you can go into the level 10 after Dark Locking, which is very nice. You can also put up a negate that also recycles resources. You can also just like add additional recursion by being able to like Dispotter. Like you make the level 10, you summon out the Dispotter or summon out off of the Dispotter from the Banish Zone, which then gets you an additional guy, which basically allows you to go into Borderlands more efficiently while still putting up an additional point of interaction, which is pretty cool. So yeah, Dispotter is very helpful, and Dragon Link was already very strong. So there you go. I don't know. I'm actually gonna put it down here because I do think for the Duelist Cup, a slower combo deck that requires a lot more thought, that isn't just an auto win like Pearly, I think is going to hurt it. I'm still going to put it in Tier 1. I still think it's just that much better. Okay. Scareclaw, like, exists. I don't know. It's okay. It'll probably show up. I don't know. Maybe. Sword Souls... fine. I know Sword Soul lovers will be like, what are you talking about? Sword Soul's the best deck. It's so good. It beats everything. It doesn't beat anything. It's okay. It's decent. The problem is its boards. When we're in such a high power level format as we are right now, the end board of Sword Soul just isn't enough. Similarly to Kashtira, almost every deck can beat that board. And almost every deck can play through it. Or just prevent it from getting to that optimal end board. Yes, technically speaking, Protoss is nice. But you gotta get to the Protoss, which is the problem. Did I look at the link to Underworld Goddess? I have not. Runic Naturia is like pretty bad right now. I just don't think it's good. Only having one fountain matters so much more for specifically this deck. Because that means if you already have the fountain in your hand, you can't discard it with, or you can't discard to get another one with Hugin, which does matter. And then also on top of that, you're more likely to have your Runic Fountain interrupted or like dealt with or something like that, which again matters a lot more in this deck. Also, I just don't feel like it's that great of a deck. Runic, however, Runic's interesting because Runic Stun is probably going to show up in the Duelist Cup because it's just, again, like an auto win. So I don't really have anything else to say other than it's an auto win. You just kind of floodgate turbo, you know, normal summon Inspector Border, win, hooray. And the opponents are just going to scoop because they're not going to play around this. Yeah. Gishki's just so cope. Gishki's not good. Same with this one. I'm actually going to move like all of these down. They're all pretty bad. Yeah, Exosister's just not great. Don't really have anything else to say. Exosister, not great. Mathmech. Mathmech's fine. Mathmech can just kind of combo into Oblivion. However, that's not really great in something like a Duelist Cup. It takes a long time, but more specifically than that, it can be outed very easily, which is kind of funny. But, yeah, like, Branded's not going to care about the end board of Mathmech. You know, it could care a little, but probably not. So, all in all, I really don't think it matters that much. Spiral is one of the most underrated decks, honestly. I genuinely think that this deck is very, very strong. I'm going to put it in Tier 2. Should it be in Tier 2? No, I just want more people to think about it. It's a very strong deck. It wins basically going first anytime. It has decent plays going second as well. The problem is that it bricks, which is annoying. But, like, who cares if you're playing 1,000 games? You're not going to play 1,000 games, but who cares if you're playing hundreds of games? Adignister basically does the same thing as Mathmech because it's basically the exact same deck. Sprite is... I don't know. I guess this would be like... We're going to call this Runic Fur Hire Sprite because we've already talked about the other version of Sprite. And there's no way you're playing like any other version. Honestly, yeah, losing one fountain does matter quite significantly, but I still think it's pretty good. Yeah, put it above Sword Soul. Screw Sword Soul. Not a good deck. Vanquish Soul is pretty... it's not that high. Vanquish Soul is pretty good. Yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. It's pretty good. It can play hand traps, which are pretty good right now. Like, being able to... Especially being able to play, like, Bystials and DD Crow against things like Mathmech is nice. Being able to play, like, Bystials against... Bystial Branded is pretty good. Being able to play DD Crow against this... now, granted, are you going to play those? Maybe not. But also being able to play Shifter is very strong. Like, all three of these care about that. This cares about it. This, basically, all of the other decks care about Shifter. So there's that. Gishki is actually good. I would say it's on the higher tier for Rogue, in my opinion. No. That's Cope. Sorry. Let me put it slightly higher. Tier Lament is one of the most underrated decks. I literally made a video about it. Yeah, Tier Lament is actually still very strong. Do you want to know why? Because it can basically play through everything, and it puts up boards that most other decks can't. The problem is consistency. Similarly to Kashira, if it's not exactly the most consistent. The difference is it didn't really receive a boost most recently, but it's still like incredibly strong. It still ends on quite significant boards with a wide variety of different play styles as well, which is pretty cool. You could play it with Punk, which is not great. You could play it with Kashira, which is pretty great. And then you could play it in like Branded, which is also great. So yeah, it's just good. Rika's decent. It's Rika. It can play the game. It's just long and doesn't really do well in like a Duelist Cup environment. Rescue Ace is pretty bad. Like it's almost everything that you don't want it to be in a Duelist Cup type environment, because being able to... It doesn't really win quickly, especially not right now. Like, there's not really a great way to OTK in that deck right now. It has to control the duel for multiple turns. It is inconsistent. Trivia Karma stems the bleeding for tier, but it doesn't completely stop it. I don't even think Trivia Karma does that much. Like, it kind of does. Do I see the new branded support making a difference? Yes. Flu is funny. Flu's good. It doesn't need to deal with Maxi. It gets free auto wins with things like Featherstorm and stuff like that, which are just, again, auto win cards. Sometimes it draws really good hands, and sometimes it doesn't do anything. Again, consistency. Even with that being said, it still just like auto wins the game sometimes, similarly to Spiral. Mana right now is really copium, and the reason for that is because it basically doesn't have any of the things that actually make it good, which is the level 6 and the level 8 synchro monsters that it goes into. So right now it's like, hope that you draw really well, and if you draw really well, maybe you can end on a good board. If you don't draw really well, maybe you do something, and if you get hand-trapped like once, you implode. Also, Maxi and Droll are really good right now, and they're cards that are, in Master Duel that immediately shut down mana. So there's that. All right, let's talk about Gate Guardian. Gate Guardian is really bad. Gate Guardian is a joke deck, but it is very funny. So please play it. Genuinely, Gate Guardian is pretty cool. I'm excited to play it. I do want to play it, but it's not good. I'm just gonna come out and say it. It's not good. It's not very good. Just not good. Don't really have anything else to say. No Amritara, no Samsara, no Trilo Sukta. Mana is in a hard cope state. Yep. Mana's missing a lot. Zodiac is going to go top of rogue. If we're playing a blind second, or more of just like a pure Zodiac build, Zodiac's not great. But I do want to talk about Zodiac. Zodiac right now, I think, is underdeveloped in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, because no one who's really played Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel has played Zodiac. And so a lot of people don't actually know the power of Zodiac and what it can actually do. So most people aren't really trying it. They're not really experimenting with it. They're like, it's Zodiac. Who cares? Like, obviously, they're going to release these cards if they think that they're not good. Barrage is crazy. If you don't know what Barrage does, Barrage is crazy. So there's that. And it being at 3 is kind of insane. That's all that I have to say. Rapier is also insane. So there you go. But just in general, Zodiac has always been a deck that relies on one card starters and 4 hand traps. That's kind of the idea of Zodiac. So a lot of people look at the board and go, that's whatever. But they don't think about the board having 4 additional hand traps. Yeah, Trident Pass isn't crazy, but Trident Pass with 4 hand traps kinda is. So, it's decent. I don't think it's gonna be crazy. I think maybe as a going second strategy, it'll probably be better than even like Makanko, which isn't on here because Makanko's whatever. That's kind of it. I don't really have anything else to say about Zodiac. Is Punk Kashtira good? No. Zeus Tura was weirdly okay deck pre-Bode format. I can see it being a reliable, mindless deck in late stages of the cup. Yeah. The thing is, I think this is probably going to be like the best going second deck. You just like play a million going second cards and then go, cool, normal summon a Zodiac, make Borbo attack, stack on the materials, make a big Zeus. Gate Guardian was tier 0. Team Sam is absolutely correct. You should absolutely play it. This is the best deck. Hands down, no questions asked. I should put it in tier 0. But I'm going to put it here because of I don't want to tell anyone. So that when I win the Duelist Cup with this deck, everyone will be surprised. I'm actually learning the power of Zodiac. Zodiac's crazy. Very underrated right now. I think it will eventually see more play. And I think it's something to look out for. So, there's that. Yeah, that's basically my list. Did I put things too high? Probably. Did I put things too low? Probably. I'm coping on Tier Limit. I'm sorry, Tier Limit is crazy. It's not crazy in a Duelist Cup environment, so I'm going to put it lower. But Tier Limit is crazy. Mark my words. If we're not talking about a Duelist Cup environment, I'm going to real quickly reshape this. First of all, this goes here. This goes here. Yeah. This goes lower. This definitely goes lower. Spiral goes lower. No, it doesn't. I'm lying to you. This one definitely goes lower. Rescue Ace goes a little bit higher. We'll keep that there. I think Labyrinth goes up as well. I think this would be my, like, for ranked. I'd probably put this higher as well. Maybe, like, here. This would be my ranked tier list. I love the Zoo Cards. 2017 was a hell of a year for Yu-Gi-Oh! True. What are our thoughts on Salad, this format? Salad's pretty good, but I'd probably put it in Rogue. I don't have it here. Why do I not? Because, reasons. I don't know. Traptrix? Traptrix is right here, Rogue. They're decent. They're okay. What's tier 1 is... that tier 1 is pretty much my exact opinion on tier 1. Yeah. I think it's a very clear top 4. I'm actually going to do this. I very rarely do this, but I genuinely think that this is one of the times where it's like, there's a very clear top 4. I'd probably move this. No. Vanquish Soul. Vanquish Soul's fine. I think that there's a very clear top 4. It's Dragon Link, it's Pearly, it's Branded, and it's Labyrinth. And I know people are going to be like, oh, what about MathMech? MathMech is really good at, like, in tournaments where you have the ability to be more consistent than your opponent, right? Or, like, being able to see, like, a side deck, or playing in an MBT event where everyone just doesn't know how to play against MathMech. But I think genuinely in, like, a Duelist Cup or in Ranked or something like that, I think you're much better off playing these 4, and it's not close. Why is Exorcister everything else, according to you? Because Exorcister right now doesn't really have a good matchup. Yes, it can go first. It also dies to a million hand traps. It dies to kaijus. It dies to anything like that, like a kaiju that would, you know, or like Herald. I guess it doesn't really die to Herald of the Abyss, but it's not great into that deck. Like, yeah, the Sakitama, Aritama stuff does help, but it's not, like, that much of a help, right? But it's mostly, it's just, like, it doesn't really have a good matchup. Like, what's its good matchup? Tearlament? Okay, cool. It already didn't really have that great of a matchup against Tearlament. It was just decent, right? It's terrible against Vanquish Soul, which is really popular right now. It's not great against Labyrinth. It's not great against MathMech. It's, like, decent against MathMech. It's terrible against Branded. I don't think it's great against Pearly. It might be okay, but probably not. But yeah, for the most part, it's just like, even when it was good, it was like tier 2 or tier 3 at best, right? It was like, it wasn't ever really the best deck in the room, not even close, right? Like, there were always several decks above it. It just had like a good matchup against Tearlament, and now it doesn't have that matchup, and so it's still bad. I don't think there's a definitive tier 1 this meta. I definitely do. I don't think there's a definitive best deck, but I definitely think that there are several decks that are far above the rest of the meta, right? The thing is, if you're looking at it from like a ranked ladder perspective, the thing is, right now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, we are in the highest power level format that we have, right? This has been just, it's been the highest power level that we've had almost ever. Like, every deck can just auto-win because of a million different cards, right? Things like Max C, Dimension Shifter, the Branded line, the Pearly lines, Labyrinth can just, like, Eradicator you if they want to, but that's not really great, but they can still do, like, the, you know, control game and just out-control deck you. MathMech can combo and just end on an unbreakable board or an insane amount of follow-up and stuff like that. Even Sprite can end on basically the same board that it did previously. The problem is, that doesn't matter because every other deck is also just as powerful. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, right now in Ranked, it doesn't matter because it's the best of one. You can just win the die roll, or you can draw the max C or whatever board breaker that it is and just win because you have a better matchup, right? You know, but I definitely think that there are decks that are way stronger than the rest. Labyrinth Hand looping is incredibly aggravating. Fair enough. Are the Synchro Pyro Dragon Ruler Synchro decks on here anywhere? I currently have them here. But I honestly don't know. This one's the most flexible. This is like the Bystial Synchro or like Sprite Synchro. I don't know about Dragon Rulers. I don't know where I would put them. Probably also in Rogue, but they could jump up to like here. I could see them being around here somewhere. I just don't know. Kind of sucks that Gate Guardian stuff only got out of Frontier and Master Duel. Because how much the ban list testing has become compared to TCG or OCG. Gate Guardian was never good, and even in the TCG or OCG. It was always a comedy deck. So, whether or not the ban list mattered, I don't think so. I think it might be a bit better than that. Ringo and Mallow does a lot. Again, I don't know. They could be a lot better. They could also be a lot worse. Right? It could be like, cool, as soon as this deck shows up, you just hit this one individual card and it dies, right? Like, you play this one card and they die, right? It's like, oh, cool, Maxi exists. Cool. Can you deal with that? No? Great, die. So it's like, eh. Which between Ignister and via Tearlament? I think the writing is on the wall, written in Highlander. Pearly is basically unhit. Lab is Lab. Branded have Quem and Sanctifier lines now. Dragonlink with Despotter and Chaos Ruler. Yep. Anyway, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did enjoy it. If you did, like us very much appreciate it. And if you want to check out more content like this as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.